I would like to be traded to any other team but the New England Patriots.
Big brain predictions. That's what I got.
Take it off, sir.
The Washington football team beat the Steelers.
Right.
And that person.
EDP.
Yes, but if we lose this game, I firmly believe we do not need to make playoffs. So
Don't you ever disrespect me.
What is going on, folks? Welcome back to After Further Review. This is episode number 35. I'm your co-host, Jalen Brown.
And your other wonderful co-host, Shaquille Brown.
Shaq, how has your week been on this almost final week of May, almost in June now?
It's been good. It's been chilling, vibing. I've just now realized episode 35 for about 35 weeks now. We have been doing this.
We have. There's actually a couple, there's probably a couple mishaps in there. Probably a little over 35. Or we know we're at 36 at the very least.
Yeah, because at least like,
right, the
hidden
pre,
episode
right.
out there, but it's kind of like at least 36 weeks. Of doing
Right.
the show. So it's kind of like...
Yes, 36. We're coming up on almost a full year once we hit 52. So, crazy.
Stick with it. Those of you who stuck with this, maybe this award for y'all. And then
You're right. Yeah, so this is the show where we talk about everything NBA and NFL. Nice sound effects in the background. Yeah, it's the show we talk about everything NBA and NFL. For those who are new to the show, I'm the resident Boston Celtic fan and New England Patriot fan. Shaq, would you like to tell the fine folks at home your
I
teams?
am the wonderful Pittsburgh Steelers fan, yeehaw, and then the wonderful Miami Heat fan.
Yes, he
Both
is.
teams have been suffering the same fate since the stage of that week one.
Yeah, both of our teams, at least as far as NBA goes, both of our teams not looking too hot right now, but we will get to that in just a second here. Would like to mention, if you are just listening to this podcast, we do have a video version that we live stream on YouTube every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you click on the first link down in either Spotify or Apple Music, it will take you to the video version of this episode. Subscribe to the channel. This is Melheim's Media. There's a bunch of other podcasts on this channel outside of just sports. So if you want to hear some other topics being discussed, there's Uncensored Mics, which is just all about news, pop culture, everything that's going on in the world right now. There's Let's Talk Bars. It's all about hip hop and rap music. There is the Tony Black Show, which is a comedian. There's a bunch of different shows on Melheim's Media. So be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you can see everything. But like I mentioned a second ago, we record 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Wednesdays. So hop on into the live stream on YouTube to watch the show live. And if you can't watch it live, as soon as we're done, the replay goes up so you can just watch it afterwards. The video version of the show is by far the best experience of the show.
Get a full-blown effect of word chaos on this show.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine the madman that only listens to this show. I mean, you must have some kind of psych problem if you are only listening to this show.
What makes you want to only hear our voices instead of seeing our wonderful faces on the YouTube? That's all I'm saying.
There's been plenty of times where we had to explain ourselves via video.
Exactly. For those who are listening and trying to figure out whatever chaos they're listening to, it's so much easier if you just watch it and you just know what's going on.
Right. This week we are drinking. I made us both an old fashioned to drink on the show, something a little different instead of just the usual beer. So after a couple of these, you won't have much more of a show left. So it is what it is. But we're gonna start off. First topic of this week's show has to be said: the first funeral.
Bad, you're already 6 feet under.
Miami in Milwaukee. So this week, as you can tell by the title, we're just talking about all of the first round matchups in the playoffs. Miami, Milwaukee. The first game was on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday afternoon. Game 1 was a great game. It was a pretty much a back and forth for most of the game, and entertaining to say the least. And then game 2, not so much the same. Shaq, what were your thoughts on games 1 and 2?
Game 1, they kept it competitive, just couldn't pull it through when it mattered, unfortunately. I was really high hopes. Then I was like, okay, we can give up game 1, but we just really need to win game 2 if that gives us any chance of doing anything. And of course, we get blown up by like 30 points. So I was like, by then, I feel like we were just giving up at that point in time. So I was like, after losing game 2, I have no faith in us to win this series. I think we're going to be a one and done in this first round. So that's just my prediction for whatever.
Yeah, game 1 was definitely your guys' best chance. Because, I mean, 1-1 is a hell of a lot better than 0-2. I mean, obviously that goes without saying. But, yeah, I really did feel like you guys were going to pull out that game 1. Went to overtime. Giannis was 50 Cent is courtside at this Hawks-Knicks playoff game right now. We'll get to them in just a bit. Derrick Rose picking his nose on live TV. Yeah, anyway, Giannis looked like he was falling apart at the tail end of game 1. Bogdanovich, the man who's so good. He's got the same first and last name. But anyway, this dude is crazy good. Yeah, anyway, Jesus. Yeah, Giannis was kind of falling apart at the end of game 1. And I was like, oh, it's not looking too good for the Greek Freak here. And Jimmy Butler was taking over the game. He drove the ball right past Giannis to tie the game up and send it to overtime. Giannis was missing free throws late, just missing shots late. But come overtime, he made a couple of big plays. And then obviously with Middleton hitting that game winner, that was that. So I really felt like that was your guys' best opportunity to steal a game on the road and take away that home court advantage from Milwaukee. But, that did not happen. And then obviously the other night, the Bucks could not miss a single three-pointer. It was just like, you could have blindfolded them. They'd still be knocking down shots to this day if you blindfolded them. They were just on fire. That's the type of game where it's like, you just aren't winning, no matter how good or bad your team is. If somebody's shooting as well as they were on, was that Tuesday night or Monday night?
Yeah,
Monday night, yeah. It just was not in the cards on that one. Any hope left for your team?
No, not so. Any team morale is probably gone by now, and it's just them knowing that they have to. The fact that they're down 2-0 means they literally have to win out almost versus series at this point in time, and it's kind of like they just don't have it in them. I don't feel like
it's also one of those things where it's like, if you aren't like, they lost a close game and then they lost a blowout, and it's kind of like, damn, like, we can't win in any scenario. So I feel like it's just demoralizing at this point. So
it's just kind of like, at this point, it's bad for me to say as a fan, but just go ahead and just lose out the rest of the series. Just take that off season real quick, like drag it out.
Yeah.
Drag this out to like game 6, and it's gonna be like, all right.
Right. I mean, I agree 100%. What's your prediction for the final series outcome?
4-0.
Agreed. Yeah, it's looking like a sweep.
It's gonna be a sweep.
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of strange right now. Butler's not playing well. I mean, nobody's playing well. I feel like Bam is still playing pretty well. He's been fairly consistent in these 2 games. Well, I guess it's kind of hard to call anybody playing well last game that was on Miami, that is. But the whole thing with Tyler Hero was really strange, that he's coming off the bench and he doesn't even seem to be you would think he'd be the first answer off the bench. He'd be the 6th man, but he's not. Like, he's coming behind a couple people. I don't understand what's going on there. There's been some weird stuff with him, and I'm not sure what that is all about, but you would think that they would be playing him a lot more than what he is right now. It's funny to think back to the start of this year where there were the trade rumors of Harden going to Miami, and it apparently part of that trade hinged on Hero being included, and Miami would not give up Hero inside of whatever that big trade would have been.
Just front three coming off the bench.
Yeah, right. Now it's like, oh man, that's one of those things. But hey,
And I feel like that would have completely changed.
Oh, yeah.
Altogether.
oh yeah,
Yes.
hindsight is 2020 though. So what are you gonna do? So moving on to the other funeral here. Go ahead and get this right quick. Yep, you're only right that we just go ahead. 2 funerals. My Boston Celtics at the Nets. We are of course down 0-2 at this point after getting our cheeks done in last night. This Knicks Hawks game is getting a little chippy here. About 5.5 minutes left. Knicks are up by about 4. Yeah, we're gonna see the end of this game live here, so that should be interesting. But anyway, yeah, we got slapped around last night. Game 1, we put up a good fight for the first half of the game, first 3 quarters of the game, and then we just kind of, there's not much that you can do when your second best player is out, and then you're going up against 2 or 3 top 10 players in the world. Gonna have a hard time winning that game. So we came out and we're on fire the first half, but come the second half, once people started to cool down, having a hard time scoring, and then you got to deal with that 3-headed monster that the Nets have. It's just a really, really tough one. And then obviously last night, just from start to finish, just getting blown out the whole time. So it is what it is. Nothing that surprised me at all. This is exactly what I was expecting to happen. Just kind of, I'm in the same boat as Shaq. Kind of hoping at this point, just put us out of our misery. There's no point in dragging this thing on. Shaq, do you have any hope for my Celtics?
Unfortunately not. I want to have all the hopes in the world for them, but of course, going up with such a stacked team as Brooklyn, it's damn near impossible unless you got a full healthy roster. And
Yeah.
There's no beating that. Even these top tier teams that we have at the top of the division would still struggle to.
Right.
So.
Yeah. At one point on Saturday, I think it was Saturday. Yeah, game 1, when we were, the Nets were like, they had just kind of tied up the game in the second half with us because we were leading for a good portion, but they had just tied up the game and their bench was on the floor against our starters, and we just could not score. It was just one of those stretches where we just could not get anything on offense. And then a dead ball came, and the camera pans over to the scores table, and Kyrie and Kevin Durant are about to check back in. You're just like, we can't even score with their bench out here. And now these two are about to come back in, and that was just it, man. It was just an onslaught from that point forward. So, what are you going to do when you go up against that team? So,
0 for 9. It's just that team.
I feel like everybody in the East has had that, like, earlier this season when Harden got there. We've all kind of known there's going to be a point where we're going to have to run into them, and there's just nothing that you can do.
You just gotta let it happen. Play your best game, but the other day you know that it's not a damn thing you can do inside that game.
That day of reckoning. Man, there are kids here so young, courtside, that probably were not even alive when the Knicks were good last.
Exactly.
Like, that's kind of crazy. But 3.5 minutes left. New York up by 5. Well, we'll see what happens here. When it gets down to the last minute, we'll color commentate. So we're really good at that.
I'm gonna start using the term I did today in life, color commentate.
A lot of people need to be color commentated.
Some people's life needs to be color commentated
In real time. All right, next series. Portland and Denver. This series is actually tied up. This last game we just played last night, the Blazers did go ahead and pull out a win. great for them. Dame Lillard has been playing huge in both games, but obviously it's more than just Dame doing his thing. He needs some more help than obviously just him. So Dame Lillard came up big and was able to help get the Blazers a win last night. However, is there anybody on the Trailblazers that you think needs to step up in particular to help the Blazers keep winning? Because obviously they can't just rely on Dame Dollar. So who else do you think?
I want to see the whole entire team needs to perform together, because God knows that Denver's going to be here and work the shit out of them come the rest of it. I honestly think I'm rooting a little bit for Denver coming through out of this. As much as I like Lillard as a player, I just don't think he has that unit to help him a long stretch of things to help him pull out. So,
is there any reason you want Denver over Portland?
I feel like it's just more interesting to you to watch come down the line per se than.
I feel that. Yeah, I'm kind of on the other side. I'd rather see. I really like Dame, and I'd like to see him progress. Just kind of at the same time, it's just one of those things, man, where the Blazers always do put up a great fight in the playoffs. They always do, and it's just they get to that point where they just don't have enough, or it is really just Dame and CJ doing their thing, and outside of that, that's what it is. And I mixed up the games. Game 1, the Blazers won, and then Game 2 they lost just last night. But yeah, like Game 1 where they did when Dame puts up 34 points, 13 assists. CJ puts in his 21. I think last night he also put in 21 as well, or something like that. But yeah, and then they also got great points out of Carmelo. He put in 18 in that win. I mean, if Carmelo can give you 18, Anthony Simmons puts in 14. Like, they're probably going to win that game if they can get that kind of production out of this kid with the cornrows. I think it comes down to, like, Dame and CJ are going to do their thing. Nurkic is also a big key to me. They need production from him down low. I know that he's going up head-to-head against the Joker, so good luck. But right, but at the same time, like, if he can give you, a good 16 points, 10 boards or something like that, and just try and give Joker just a hard time instead of just letting him dominate you inside, that's a huge key. Because in last night's win, Dame puts up 42. Again, CJ puts in his 21, but then you look around, Norman Powell did have a big game. He put in 15 points. But everybody else, there's just nothing. Like, you can go down the list. Carmelo only had 5.
The thing is, how you got to play 37 minutes in the game, put up 3 points, 1 assist, and 1 rebound in the playoff game?
Robert Covington, man.
And then Robert,
Yeah. That it just can't happen. And then again, Nurkic, he did have 13 boards, but only 7 points.
Yeah,
like, he needs to need more production.
Top 3 amount of minutes on his team, and homeboy can only put up that productivity.
That's very true. You cannot be starting and only have 3 points. It can't happen. It cannot happen.
They say points aren't everything, but at the end of the day, we need you to put up like double-digit points at least. And
yeah. And Paul Millsap, he also had a huge game, 15 points, 7 boards, 3 assists. So yeah, he was everywhere. But yeah, this is also a very compelling series. I wish that they weren't always such late games. Like tomorrow, they play against also at 10:30. So it's here on the East Coast. It's kind of hard to catch these. But Saturday they do play at 4:00. So I'm highly looking forward to that one, and that'll be Game 4, so that will be gets even tighter as the series goes on. But anyway, what's your outcome prediction for this one?
I say it'll be a Game 6 victory for the Nuggets. So
For the Nuggets, I'm going to say Blazers in 7. I think it's going to take them every last possession to win this series. But yeah, give me the Blazers in that one. So we usually have the segment Ride or Die in 5, which is our how we pick games, and we each had a record during the regular season. I won the regular season, but now we're starting from scratch, 0-0, heading into MSG is about to collapse right on Spike Lee's dome. That's why he has that hard hat on. Anyway, yeah, so we're starting from scratch for the playoffs. So the way we'll do this now moving forward, we're not going to pick every single game like Jesus. But what we'll do is with our series predictions, we'll count those as if we hit it spot on, that's a win. If we don't hit it spot on, that counts as a loss. So if the Blazers win in 7, I'm 1-0. And then if they win, if the Nuggets win in 6, then Shaq is 1-0, and then so on and so forth. So we'll see what happens there. This will make a bit more sense come next week once there's actually some wins and losses in these columns here. Moving right along, before we hit our next playoff series, we want to mention our small business showcase for the week. This week, we are showcasing Grim and Proper Clothing on Instagram. Right there, folks, that banner, exactly as it says, right there, spelled out in plain English. I do not understand why older people have such a hard time. That's not what we're here for right now. At Grim and Proper Clothing. Okay. So yeah, this is a clothing brand that is located right here in Tampa, folks. I'm going to put up the Instagram on the screen here. Go ahead and check that out while I tell you a little bit about Grim and Proper. So their products is inspired by vintage band tees, tattoos, and anything dark or grungy. They started less than a year ago and are still growing, adding more and more products every couple of months. They started out with men's clothing and have seen just as much interest from the females, so they're excited about offering women's styles next year. So all of the artwork and the designs that you see on their Instagram is all hand-drawn by their founder, Brian. I do wear some of Grim and Proper's clothing myself. If I would like to sport my own hat there, you guys will see it after the Instagram's off the screen. But they make hats, they make shirts, they make shorts, socks, accessories, a bunch of just different clothing items. Stickers are even in there. So if this kind of style is your thing, the kind of grungy, tattoo, goth kind of thing, definitely give them a follow on the gram. That is a Grim and Proper hat right there if you guys are interested in checking that out. I got some shorts for them.
I'm going to cut a couple socks off of
there you go. So yeah, if you're interested, visit grimandproper.com to shop right on their website if you want to buy something, and then also follow the damn Instagram right there.
30 seconds left to go.
Right. So yeah, shout out to Grim and Proper. If you are here in Tampa, that's a plus for you. Moving along, looks like the Knicks should have this in the bag, barring the miracle that the Hawks are trying to pull off, but highly doubt that at this point. Yeah, so we're gonna move along to the next series here. There's a few of these still to get through, folks, but Washington and Philly, that game 2 was just capped off just before we started this episode. So now it is 0-2 within Philly's favor. Shaq, I don't know if you took the time out of your days to watch either one of these games. We had the choice of watching the Hawks-Knicks game or the Wizards-Sixers game today, but we opted in to watch this game over that game for reasons that you guys probably don't really need explained to you. But yeah, I did not watch the first game, did not watch the second game. I will not watch the third game, and damn it, I refuse to watch the fourth game because that's all that's going to be needed for the Sixers to sweep the Wizards. Shaq, do the Wizards have any hope on beating the Philadelphia 76ers?
The 76ers stadium collapses at some point during the game. That would be the best opportunity. Yes. I know I did not take any second of my time to sit here and watch any one of those games.
Yeah, that would be doing a disservice to your life, actually. Even if you're a fan of either one of these teams, or a fan of the Wizards at least, if you're a fan of the Sixers, of course you're going to watch. This is a great, easy way to, if you want an easy way to celebrate your night, of course you're going to tune into this game. But if you're a fan of the Wizards, come on, man. Yeah.
What's the time? Your electricity.
Your electricity. People, global warming is a thing.
Exactly.
We're killing our planet. Save your power. The hell. Just burning.
For what?
Yeah, so my series outcome, as you just heard, it's
Just
come on.
The afterlife, they're gonna bring it for Sims. Like, I see you helped contribute to global warming watching Washington and Philly game.
You spent X amount of watts of energy watching a Wizards playoff game. That was a foregone sweep.
Like, explain yourself. Like,
And you slept during 90% of it.
exactly. You woke up for the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that that could be the difference. You going up top and you going somewhere else. There's 2 more games left, folks, and there are only 2. Let me reiterate, there are only 2 more games
I'd
left.
rather watch That's So Raven reruns.
By the way, folks, we invited 2 guests onto the show, to Washington Wizards fans. Yes, they do exist. We invited them to come on here and speak their piece for their own team. They declined the opportunity.
And that's
So
how bad they are. That they're on. Fans, like, I better not talk about it.
we reached out, but hey, can't win them all. So anyway, last one before we get to our break. All right, compelling series this time around. Lakers and the Suns now all tied up at 1 game apiece. Game 2 was just played last night. I watched the entire game. This was great game. Both games 1 and 2 were outstanding. Chris Paul, very banged up. Very, very banged up. It seems just like deja vu again. Every postseason where it seems like Chris Paul is going to have a big impact or role, he seems to get hurt in some capacity, which is really unfortunate. I don't understand how that works. He must have some kind of voodoo doll out there with...
This time of year, just throw it against the wall.
It's sad, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, he got hurt in kind of a weird play on Saturday or Sunday, one of those days, Sunday, and then trying to get the shoulder to go last night, but he did not play for much of that game. And then when he did come back in, I mean, he could barely pass the ball. He could barely do much of anything. It's just kind of like, damn. And yeah, without him, it's not really looking too good for Phoenix. I highly doubt they're able to get this dub. With him, though, I mean, on Sunday, it was, wow. I mean, you talk about night and day. The Suns looked dangerous. Even without him, they still really pushed the Lakers to their limits. So, yeah. To me, a lot of it just comes down to the size disadvantage. Like, if you look at just how big the Lakers are with AD, Gasol, Drummond, obviously even LeBron on his own, like, they are so much just bigger than the Suns. Like, the Suns have DeAndre Ayton, and that's kind of it for, like, their actual big men. Like, outside of that, there aren't too many huge dudes. Like, Jay Crowder is guarding Anthony Davis half the time, which is, like, a clear mismatch, but somehow they're able to kind of make it work. Yeah, and last night, the Lakers took advantage of that, something they did not do on Game 1. So if the Lakers continue to do that and the Suns just can't really combat that, which I don't think they can, and Chris Paul is not going to be 100%, I don't think the Suns are going to stand much more of a chance. Shaq, any tips for the Suns to compete against this height?
No advice from them because I feel the Lakers have found their weak spot. The fact they know they're mismatched now, that the Phoenix is mismatched against them.
Yeah.
So they're just going to abuse that. And I said the series is going to be like within 5 games be decided, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, it might be because, I mean, they're going back to LA now. It sounds like, I don't think we've heard yet, but there's a good chance that Chris Paul won't even be playing next game. They want to give him an extra few days of rest before game 4 comes around. So not looking too hot for Phoenix. I will say this though, the Lakers did get a huge contribution from Drummond last night. Like, he really stepped up. That was probably the best game he's had in a Lakers uniform so far. And then Dennis Schroeder stepped up big time last night. That dude he looked like OKC Schroeder again. Like, he was just everywhere, using his speed to his advantage, pulling up. I love watching him play. He's, to me, one of the most entertaining players to watch. But if the Lakers can keep getting that level of production from him and Drummond, hell, just either one of them, they're going to be coming right on back to the finals in about a month or so. So, yeah. Outcome prediction for this one, Shaq?
Lakers in 5.
Lakers in 5. I'm going to give the Suns one more win. I'm going to say Lakers in 6. Yeah, I think Chris Paul, he'll come back, maybe not next game, but the following game. And if he can just play for 75% of a game, I think that that'll be enough between him and Booker to get another win in this series. So, yeah. On that note, we're going to take a break.
See y'all.
You can go get a drink, go to the bathroom, smoke, I don't know, whatever you do.
Whatever y'all do during these breaks. Meditate till we come back.
Yeah, do that. Something productive. Back on the other side with an Instagram poll result. See you in a bit. If you were starting a team right now, would you pick him as your starting point guard?
Yes.
Oh, I'm still taking Steph. I'm sorry.
No.
You think Russell Westbrook is a better
Yes.
point guard?
An all around better point guard.
How many rings does Russell Westbrook have?
How many rings does Steph have?
3.
I'm still taking.
Kevin Durant left this man because he said, "I can't win with you. I gotta go join somebody who can."
And then he left Steph again.
Well, I mean, it's Kevin Durant.
Yes.
But at the same time, since he's left, what has Russell Westbrook done?
You make a powerhouse team around Steph Curry. That man had help.
Before that, he had him. It was him, Draymond, and Clay.
It was just a lot more than Westbrook had.
He had Kevin Durant, James Harden, Serge Ibaka.
You try to play with James Harden.
If a game is on the line, the last person on my list is Russell Westbrook because that shit is hard off the glass every single time. What are you saying right now, Ryan Brown? Is a beast. Yeah, he is a beast. That doesn't mean he's better than Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Some do say that they think the coaching is the problem with that team, but I mean, maybe if you give him a great coach, maybe they'll hop up to like the 8th seed at best. You know, maybe they'll jump up 2 places or so, but nothing crazy.
Can't coach non-talent.
That's also true, man.
This is of a Disney movie where the Airbud comes and saves them, bro.
They do have a very interesting roster. I will say that.
Not just people like to talk. Mike Tomlin is probably the best thing to happen. One of the best things that happened to that team when it comes to coaching. Which other coach would you know would have tolerated all that shit? Think about it. Picture coaching Antonio Brown for more than one season at a time. And then picture coaching Juju on the same exact. My thing is like no other coach would have tolerated. You know damn well this man is cussing them out in the locker room every game.
Screaming at him.
Using all types of language, just screaming at him in the locker room to act right. You know this man do nightly call-ins. You home? All right, you got a game tomorrow.
He's a high school coach. He's got to call him the night before. Hey, remember, we got to be at the airport, all right? 9 a.m.
Is that club music in the background?
Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lore, two of them are in the process of buying the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards was asked about what he thinks about A-Rod now owning the team, and apparently he did not know who Alex Rodriguez even was. Very strange coming from him, who apparently played baseball for a big chunk of his life, and he's trying to convince people that he doesn't know. Okay, like really?
Go playing games.
Jesus.
Got low-key got distance, man. We don't put up into
I don't see your name on this checkbook.
what payroll?
Apparently they'll take full control come 2023, and they will also own the WNBA counterpart, the Minnesota Lynx, as well.
I feel like this Browns team has a different vibe, a more successful vibe than what you've seen in the past from them.
Nah, I think they're still the same Browns team out there every year. I think they're nameless, great faces. The Browns is the Browns. I'm just happy we're playing them again, this Sunday. I'm just happy we're playing them again, The Browns is the Browns. I'm just happy we're playing them again, this Sunday.
Playoffs. Didn't even want this in the playoffs. Second and 20, fires over the middle. Get high, it's gonna be picked off at the 44-yard line.
The Browns is the Browns.
Get him out of here, Sean! The Browns don't beat the Browns! The Browns don't beat the Browns!
And I'ma need that $40 even if I gotta fuck, suck, and swallow. Hit the parking lot cause I was
White 1K in this bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, shit.
And then if you get all the questions right, you get a shot.
How many questions are there?
Perfect.
There's 8. All right, let's do this, boys. It's gotta be 50%, man. Let's do this, boys.
I don't know shit about the Bucks.
Do we have any?
Ask me if I care.
Bucks trivia. Stats, some players.
Oh, I don't know.
Yes,
I'm
you
not
do.
good at this stuff.
Who's the starting quarterback prior to Tom Brady?
Jameis Winston. Oh, Jameis Winston.
Oh, come on.
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston.
What year did the Bucks win their first Super Bowl?
That was a long time ago.
19. Dude.
You were on the right track with 2000s.
What was the question? Ask the question again.
2001. 2002. 2002.
January 2003.
I'm gonna take a guess and say 3.
Which Bucks wide receiver led the team in receiving yards this season?
Mike Evans.
Evans? It's got to be Mike Evans.
Oh, that's easy. Mike Evans.
And we are back. Hope you guys enjoyed your halftime there. Hope you took care of whatever needs to be taken care of.
That meditation session was great.
Yes. It is important to take care of your mental health, folks. So if you need to take that 5 minutes or so, maybe 6 or 7, you do that right then and there.
Gotcha. I mean, even though we're already soothing enough for the soul, we know you got your time. We understand.
Coming back, second half of the show, to bring you the poll results of today's Instagram poll, which was, can the Clippers come back from being down 0-2? The results showed, the results did say 100% of you said no. So there's that.
I can agree with that. 100%.
That is the next topic that we're of course going to hit. Usually we would do kind of Instagram news at this point in time, but kind of a slow period of time when it comes to news. Really just the NBA playoffs is the only thing that's happening. NFL, kind of the same stuff we've been hearing. Same Aaron Rodgers drama. Tebow to the Jaguars. Julio Jones may or may not want to be traded. So, kind of slow news week, to say the least. So anyway, we're just going to keep it moving right along to the Dallas and Clippers series, since we're just speaking of them. Shaq, have you had the pleasure of watching either one of these games?
I watched briefly of one of these games. And
any thoughts?
I want Dallas to. My heart, I want them to. But
Luka Doncic. The Clippers, it really is this simple. If the Clippers cannot find an answer to Luka, they are going to get swept because he is balling right now and he's having a blast doing it. This man, it does not matter who they put on him. He's just scoring on everybody. And he's laughing at him, disrespecting him. And this was on their home court. It's not even like they're back in Dallas yet. They're about to be. But on their own home court, he's just having a blast. He's calling Patrick Beverly too small. He's looking for Paul George. He's looking for Kawhi. Put anybody on him. He's out there just having a blast right now. And the Clippers have absolutely no response for him. Add in the fact that the Mavs are just knocking down 3-pointers at a ridiculous clip right now. It's really hard for the Clippers to keep up with that just in general. Like Hardaway had 28 last night. And then if you go back to game 1, he also put up a bunch of points. He had 21 in game 1. But also in game 1, Luka had a 31-point triple-double. I mean, it's very hard to beat that. And then just last night, he put up 38 points. And 39, and damn near had another triple-double. So crazy. And then Porzingis threw in his 20 points, 4 boards. Kleber put in 13 points. Like, just absolutely crazy shooting. The really funny part is that, the Clippers put up 121 points, but the Mavs were still able to just outscore them with 127. You just can't allow somebody to hang 127 points on you in a playoff game and expect to win. It's just not happening. Unless your name is the Brooklyn Nets, maybe.
Scoring machine. So
right.
This era of playoffs is very interesting to me that people are just throwing up 120 plus points.
Yeah.
Casually on every single playoff.
Right. The Mavs right now, extremely hard to stop. Last night they missed, they only were 53% from the free throw line, which if you were to say that, you would think, oh man, they must have gotten blown out. But they were almost the same from the 3-point line, about a little over 50%. So it was Jeez, if they can't hit the free throws, they definitely make up for it in 3-pointers, right? And the Clippers shot relatively well. Like they shot 30 some odd % from the 3-point line, which is a solid 3-point percentage. So it wasn't like they just couldn't hit anything. Like they were obviously just fine on offense. It's just a matter of their defense. They cannot stop Luka. Hardaway is knocking down everything right now. And Porzingis, he's stepping up, which is a huge addition. Like if he steps up on top of Luka, like you're not going to win that game. So what do you think the Clippers need to do in order to slow down Luka? You think they need to trap him? You think they just keep him out of the paint? Well, probably not that much because, I mean, he can shoot from anywhere.
Just probably just double this man, which unfortunately is going to be hard because they got other people can shoot from other places. So, but
right,
doubling sounds like the only reason. As soon as that man touches the ball at the 3-point line, just
that probably my game plan. Anytime he touches the ball, double him. I would rather put my money on Hardaway and Porzingis not staying this hot. Like if they for the next 2 games can put up 20 and almost 30 points each. Okay, damn it, you beat us. But I'm gonna put my chips on just doubling Luka and making sure he does not continue to just dog us. Yeah, because I don't think that Hardaway or Porzingis are able to keep this up at this high of a clip going forward. But we'll see. But Luka himself, though, man, keep doing what you're doing because it is fun to watch. This dude is having a blast out there. It almost looks like he's not even trying. Like, I mean, yeah, he is trying, but like, you think he's just out here just right. Over here pulling up from almost half court, doing these run up faders off of one leg, and just laughing at him. Just and the Clippers just have there's no answers for the guy, no answer for him whatsoever. Man, Luka's a fun dude to watch. Without a doubt.
Keep it up. They gotta have all off season.
And all this talk about the Clippers tanking because they didn't want to play the Lakers or the Blazers in the first round. Some people are saying like the Mavs kind of took that as disrespect. Like, oh, you wanted to play us? You thought it was gonna be an easy first round? Oh, okay, all right, that's fine. And now they got him. So
exactly. Here we are now.
Yeah. Good luck to the Clippers. By this time next week, might be case closed for them, which is crazy to think about. That after another season, all this hype about the Clippers, and jeez, man. The funny stat is that they haven't won a playoff game. Like they lost their last 5 playoffs games now because they let the Nuggets come back on them last year, and now since then they still have not won a playoff game.
They cannot. Hope they show a shot again for you.
It's one of those. D. Mitchell
in this man's dome.
What the hell? My God. Donovan Mitchell, man. Good to have him back.
How long was out? Can't tell.
Feel like he never left. Yeah, anyway, good luck, Clippers. What's your prediction for the outcome?
Oh, I'll give them. I put it as I'll give them 1 game to win, and then the rest of the series is done and over with.
I want to give them 2 wins. I either want to give them 2 wins or I want to say they just get swept. Fuck it. I'm going to say they get swept. I think they go back to Dallas and the Mavs just close them out at home. I am subscribing to the idea of the Clippers issue is not a play issue. It's just a mentality thing. I don't know what it is, but those dudes don't seem to have a clear leader. And it seems to affect them in these times like this. Like when games get tight, really important games, for whatever reason, they just can't seem to get it together. So I'm going to say the Mavs just sweep them from this point forward. So, yeah, Shaq saying Dallas in 5. I'm saying Dallas in 4. So, yeah, Clippers, they might have to blow up that team come a couple months from now. So we'll see what happens there. Moving along to the second to last series. This game just wrapped up. Hawks and Knicks. The Knicks were able to tie this thing up at home. So now it is, just right back leveled. The Hawks did take game 1 in MSG with that Trae Young game winner. Not at the buzzer, but Trae Young just unbelievable hitting that dagger to put into the heart of the New York Knicks fan base right there in New York. But tonight wasn't quite able to get the job done. The Knicks able to tie this thing up. My main concern with the Knicks, they were able to come back because they were down for a big portion of tonight's game. My main concern with the Knicks is that they just can't quite seem to keep up with Atlanta's speed. If you just look at the Knicks players, they have a more, an older team than Atlanta, a much more youthful team that loves to get up and down the court. That's how they score a lot of their points. I mean, hell, look at their point guard. But the Knicks, bit older, more veteran team, harder for them to get up and down the court so fast. So, Shaq, how do you think that the Knicks can keep up with the Hawks' speed?
I just see them catching them early off the plays and prevent them trying to outpace them at fast breaks. I do predict the Knicks to win out this series. I want the Knicks to win out the series.
Okay.
So I do predict them. I feel like that veteran experience will get them in the long run. So
yeah, I'm going the opposite. I do think the Hawks in the end are going to get the best of the Knicks. Unfortunately, this is one of those series where, not unfortunately, because it actually is fairly entertaining. I see this going about 7 games in favor of Atlanta. But I don't think that the Knicks can necessarily slow them. I think they just need to slow the whole game down, like prevent fast breaks by any means necessary and just force Atlanta to play at their pace. Because, if you just make this a sprint, obviously the Knicks are not going to be able to compete with the Hawks. But, if they need to get some clear path fouls just to prevent fast breaks from getting started, or just really limit the turnovers, because that's how a fast break starts, is usually off of a turnover. So, yeah, just do not turn over the ball against this team, and you'll be off to a great start just right there. But I do think that in the end, come 7 games, I think that the Hawks' speed is just going to wear down the Knicks, and eventually they just won't have enough in the tank to keep up with Atlanta. I'm trying to see tonight. It was a pretty collective effort tonight from the Knicks. Like, they got Julius Randle put in 15, 12 boards. Reggie Bullock put in 15 points. RJ Barrett put in 13. D Rose with a big 26 points. He led the Knicks in scoring. Yeah, it's one of those things where the Knicks were able to hold Atlanta under 100 points. The Hawks only scored 92. They shot. Yeah, I see. Big reason here is the Hawks died by the 3-point line tonight. 27.3% from 3-point line, 12 for 44. So, yeah, that's right there. They just kept chucking them up there. Yeah, and then turnover wise, the Hawks had 13, New York had 10. So, just kind of right there. That kind of tells the story. The 3-point percentage is probably the biggest reason right there. But anyway, so Shaq, what was your series outcome for this one?
Series does go to a 6-game series with the
Knicks coming out on top. Fair enough. I'm trying to make sure I keep track of these. So Shaq is saying New York for 2. I'm saying Atlanta 4-3. All right, and then last game, the one that is on right now, Grizzlies and Utah. This is game 2 that's on right now. Memphis did steal game 1 in Utah, which was very surprising for me. I really thought that they were just about to get completely run over in this series, but Grizzlies came out swinging in game 1. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell was not playing. He has not played since like the middle of April. But hey, the Grizzlies took advantage of that and were able to beat out Utah by just 3 points. Dillon Brooks played massive. He put up about 31 or so. So, yeah. I mean, it took Dillon Brooks playing out of his mind. Took, of course, Ja Morant doing his thing. And no Donovan Mitchell for the Grizzlies just to be able to steal that one game. But Mitchell's out there right now, and he seems to not have missed a beat in the extended period of time that he's been out. So, yeah, right now it's 21-16 Utah. So, Shaq, how did the Grizzlies compete now that Mitchell is back out there?
I think today, with Mitchell being back in there, I definitely put the Jazz back up on top of the Grizzlies. He's a little bit over the edge. What did he? We were saying earlier with the Bears only winning by like 3 points without Mitchell being in there. Now that he's in there, I definitely seen the game being more balanced or spaced out with Jazz being on top. So we shall see. We see in a handful of plays by glancing up and watching this that Mitchell has not missed a beat from me now.
Right.
So it should be interesting come mid to late game.
Yeah. I think that because Mitchell's back in there, the Grizzlies are going to have a really, really hard time. Like, are we really expecting Dillon Brooks to put up 30 points every night? Probably not. Ja Morant, he'll do his thing. I mean, I think that he can average, 26, 27, the high 20s as far as scoring goes. But, the rest of those guys, just kind of hard to ask them. Valenciunas, he'll do his thing, too. Yeah. Gee, that's crazy. Team Mitchell already 12 points, 3 of 5 from the 3-point line. Yeah, so kind of the Grizzlies are going to have a hard time going forward. I think that now that Mitchell's back in, unfortunately, I would like to say that the Jazz are just going to sweep from this point going forward. I think it'll be finished in 5 games. Shaq, what's your outcome prediction?
I was going to say the same, about 5 games, and the Jazz got this in the bag, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll just about do it. Anything else you want to mention before we get up out of here?
Do not be a bandwagoner if your team is out or getting knocked out. Please be that team fan forever and stay true.
Sounds like you are speaking very specifically.
Take it how you want it. If that she fits you, strap it on and wear it.
That is a very good point, though, folks. Do not jump on to teams suddenly now that it is May.
Just because your team didn't make it doesn't mean you gotta be a fan of another team. You can be completely unbiased and just watch it.
I know that is a strange thought, folks.
Yeah, you don't exactly have to have a horse in every race. So.
Right. Both of our teams are about to get knocked out here in a few days.
Exactly.
You won't see us.
As long as Milwaukee or Brooklyn doesn't make it, I'm fine with that.
Shaq is not rooting for anybody, but he damn sure is rooting against a couple of teams.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't care who wins outside of those teams. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm in the same boat with Brooklyn and anybody but them. So, yep. Anyway, folks, that will do it for this week's show. Next week, probably hit that point where we'll be in that weird area where we're talking about second round and then still some of the first round matchups that are still going on. So, yeah, I mean, from this point forward, the show is primarily NBA playoff topics. So it just all comes down to if there's any blockbuster news that comes out of the NFL, which I mean, doubt it at this point, but yeah, it's big basketball show going forward throughout the early part of the summer here. So I want to thank you all for watching. We will see you all next week. Follow us on Instagram. It's right over there. Just on TikTok now, but they're both the same. At AFR Sports. That way you can vote in our next Instagram poll. So see you all next week. Thank you for watching or listening. Peace.